the phone call just quit working for some reason.
Is this any better?
Yes, you sound much better.
Okay, good. Cool.
You were saying,
So,
I'm sorry.
let's see, where were we? Well, basically, the premise was to find the 10 singers, so that would be 10 by 10 as a project. Um, and so, basically, before, about a month before Ronnie died, he said to me, he said, listen, I really want to get back on board with the 10 by 10. I want to get it finished. And so when he passed, I sort of, the baton was passed to me. It was the only way it was really going to get finished. And I hadn't done a full production since I had joined Styx. I just hadn't had the time. So it's taken me a couple years to finish it, but it is now done. I'll leave off the record company we're going with just for now because the ink isn't dry on that.
Sure.
But things are really good. Glenn Hughes came on board and did the last vocal that needed to be done for me. Ronnie really wanted Glenn on the record, as did I. Glenn's been a longtime friend and amazing, if not the best singer in rock and roll. And so you've got Edgar Winter and Sammy Hagar and Glenn Hughes, Eric Martin, Mark Farner does a killer vocal, Davey Pattison, who was Ronnie's singer in Gamma, a guy named Bruce Turgan, who was the writer for Lou Gramm in his solo project, does a fantastic job, and so on, and Greg Raleigh, who was with Santana and Journey, and so what Ronnie had not finished, although he's larger than life on every track, the solos hadn't been done. So I called guys that knew Ronnie or that Ronnie admired, and I said, listen, I'll give you an example. I called up Edgar, and I said, Edgar, my natural inclination in the song that you and Ronnie did is to get Rick Derringer, who took Ronnie's place in the Edgar Winter Group, to play the solo Ronnie didn't get to. And Edgar said, Rick, I think that's a fabulous idea. I'd love to have Rick on this record. So I called Rick, and Rick jumped on board and did an incredible job. He got 3 guys from the Edgar Winter Group all on the same track with Eric and myself. It's like being transported back into the sweet spot of the Edgar Winter Group in the 70s. It blows my mind every time I listen to it. Sammy Hagar had never worked with Steve Lukather from Toto, and I asked Sammy, I said, I've got Steve Lukather in mind for this, and he said, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I'd love. And that's kind of what went on. At some of these times, I had to make arrangements around the country for guys to get in. When Joe Bonamassa, for example, came to Austin, Texas, where I live, I went and picked him up at his hotel room and took him in the studio and recorded Joe in Austin. But Joe had a fabulous story about when he got a phone call out of the blue from Ronnie Montrose saying, hey kid, I just heard your new record, keep doing this, we need more like you out there, and how it touched him, and so he was there on board, and it's kind of a labor of love, as you can tell, and it's taken a while to really get it completed, and a lot of the songs are unfinished as far as overdubs, so I have a studio that's completely set up, and I did a lot of the keyboard overdubs and a lot of extra, guitar overdubs and things in harmony parts that needed to be done. I brought in a section to sing backgrounds with me on stuff, and we really we did something I think that surprised all of us, how incredible this body of work sounds, and I'm so glad that people are going to hear where Ronnie was at this point in his life. He was still coming up with great stuff.
Sure. You said that this is something that a project you're still working on. When do you think the project will be? And I'm not asking for a hard release date or anything, but when do you hope it will be available by?
Well, it's done, and what we're just trying to do is find. We want to make sure that it gets a proper release and that it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. You know how it is with music today, anyway.
Right.
So it's a little bit difficult to get. I mean, we're not Beyonce and we're not Taylor Swift or Kanye, so that kind of attention is for a different genre altogether. So we want to be careful in that. So we're going to probably release right after the first of the year, and really have a nice ramp up and make sure that people are aware of it. I'm going to start doing what I'm doing now, is talking more about it, and letting people know it's who are fans of this genre, and there's a lot of them out there that just need to be reached. That it's going to be coming out, and Lisa Montrose is my partner in all this. Ronnie's widow, and she's very much on board, and I'm making sure she's included in every way.
Gotcha.
And it's just a really cool thing. It's got, the subtitle of it is like, it's 10 by 10 Ronnie Montrose and the Blood Brothers, because everybody involved in this, I felt, needed to be a piece of it, because they've given a lot of themselves. And so by us kind of calling ourselves the Blood Brothers, it's it's that tattoo we wear, which is it's now, I guess, classic rock and roll, but whatever that inception, that first little germ of what started this whole crazy
No, I got you.
business, connects us all.
For sure. You know, if when that's released, I would love to hear that. If that project needs any press, I would be on board for that. If I could connect with Mr. Terrence Gibson and maybe bug you about it further down the line, or I don't know if you have a proper person that you'd recommend me to who'd handle press for that, or if you're doing it all yourself, or.
You know what? I think Terry is the guy I would trust with that. Terry's very excited about this project, and that's what we're looking for. And that's kind of everybody who's been involved is so excited about this.
Sure.
You know, it's that kind of a thing. So,
I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's it.
Oh, I was going to say.
I mean, the project is done. It's been mixed. I have just recently added a few guitar parts and a few little things, and there's going to be one remix done next month when I'm in Los Angeles. I've been Skyping a lot of this stuff. It's crazy how the modern age has kind of helped me get this thing done, because I'm on the road so much. So my engineer is in Los Angeles, but I do engineer a lot of the stuff myself at my studio in Austin. So what we do is I sit in my studio, he sits in his studio in LA, and we both got the same stuff on each drive in each city. So we Skype, and it's like we're sitting working with each other. And if he says, you know, Ricky, what do you think if we do? You should maybe continue that keyboard part you started in blah blah blah. And I'll say, okay, hang on a second, and I'll run over to the B3 plugin and play and record, and then send him the file. He drops it in, and it's just been working a treat. We work for hours like that.
Gotcha.
And it's just a great time to be able to get things done with busy schedules.
No, for sure. No, that makes sense, because you're driving all over the place. So I'll reach out to Terry about that and bug him if that's possible. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I wanted to ask if there's anything else you wanted to discuss, any other future projects, what you think the future of Styx will hold, any exciting developments. I know a lot of people ask you about new music, so whatever you want to talk about, freeform.
Actually, you know, that's it. There are germinations of ideas of doing something new, and you know, there'll probably be more to talk about that in the future. But it's right now, it's the business at hand is all these shows that we're going to be doing another actually symphony show at Red Rocks with the Denver Symphony this summer. And you know, it's fun for us to switch it up and play a full course rock and roll show with other bands, some with ourselves, to do the symphony shows, and we're just trying to change it up and make it interesting for the guys that hold the cars up that say this is my 150th Styx show.
Jeez.
You know, the guys, there's a lot of our fans are been to so many shows. It's great, nice for them to be able to come and see something a little different.
Gotcha. Sir, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
You bet. My pleasure. Thanks. Good questions. I enjoyed it.
I will look forward to seeing you in Nashville.
Awesome. All right, man. Take care.
You too. Bye.